Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayana, unto Naranarayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nashta prayeshu abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. And loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, entitled Creation, Chapter 8, Prayers of Queen Kunti and Parikshit saved, text number 29. Naveda kaschid bhagavam stikirshitam Tabeha manasya nirnam vidambanam Nayasya kaschid daitosti karhichit Dveshyascha yasmin vishamatirnirnam Naveda kaschid bhagavam stikirshitam Tabeha manasya nirnam vidambanam Nayasya kaschid daitosti karhiche Dveshyascha yasmin vishamatirnirnam Naveda kaschid bhagavam stikirshitam Tabeha manasya nirnam vidambanam Nayasya kaschid daitosti karhichit Dveshyascha yasmin vishamatirnirnam Naveda kaschid bhagavam stikirshitam Tabeda manasya nirnam vidambanam Nayasya kaschid daitosti karhichit Dveshyascha yasmin vishamatirnirnam
Naveda kaschid bhagavam stikirshitam
Naveda kaschid bhagavam stikirshitam
Taveha manasya nirnam vidambanam
Taveha manasya nirnam vidambanam
Nayasya kaschid daito asti karichit
Nayasya kaschid daitosti karhichit
Dveyascha yasmin vishamatirnirnam
Dveshyascha yasmin vishamatirnirnam
वेद कश्चित् भगवान् च कृषितिम्
न वेद कश्चित् भगवंश्च कीर्षितम्
तव ईशमानस्य नृणां विडन्नम्
तवेहमानस्य नृणां विडम्बनम्
न यस्य कश्चित् दैति अस्ति कर्हिचिति
न यस्य कश्चित् दैतोऽस्ति कर्हिचित्
द्वेष्य च यस्मिन् विस्मामति नृणाम्
द्वेष्यश्च यस्मिन् विषमा मतिर्नृणाम् न वेद कश्चित् भगवान्
स्य कश्चित् दयितोऽस्ति कर्हिचित्
न यस्य कश्चित् दैतोऽस्ति कर्हिचित्
देव्यस्य च यस्मिन् विषमामतिर्नृणाम्
द्वेष्यश्च यस्मिन् विषमा मतिर्नृणाम् Synonyms: na,
Na
does not.
does not.
Veda,
Veda
no. Kaschit,
Kashit
anyone.
anyone.
Bhagavan,
Bhagavan,
O Lord.
O Lord.
Chikirshitam,
Chikirshitam
pastimes.
pastimes.
Tava,
Tava
your.
your.
Ihamanasya,
Ihamanasya
like the worldly men.
like a worldly man.
Nrinam,
Rinam
of the people in general.
of the people in general.
Vidambanam,
Vidambanam
misleading.
misleading.
Na,
Na
never.
never.
Yasya,
Yasya
his.
his.
Kaschit,
Kashit
anyone.
anyone.
Daitaha,
Daitaha
object of specific favor.
object of specific favor.
Asti,
Hasti
there is.
there is.
Karhichit,
Karhichet
anywhere.
anywhere.
Dveshyaha,
Dveshyaha
object of envy.
object of envy.
Cha,
Cha
and
and
Yasmin,
Yasmin
unto him.
unto
Vishama,
Vishama
partiality.
partiality.
Matihi,
Matihi
conception.
conception.
Nrinam,
Pranam
of the people.
of the people.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Translation: O Lord, no one can understand your transcendental pastimes, which appear to be human and so are misleading. You have no specific object of favor, nor do you have any object of envy. People only imagine that you are partial. Please repeat the translation. O Lord,
O Lord,
no one can understand your transcendental pastimes,
no one can understand your transcendental pastime,
which appear to be human
which appear to be human
and so are misleading.
and so are misleading.
You have no specific object of favor,
You have no specific object of favor,
nor do you have any object of envy.
nor do you have any object of envy.
People only imagine that you are partial.
People only imagine that you are partial.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.
The Lord's mercy upon the fallen souls is equally distributed. He has no one as the specific object of hostility. The very conception of the personality of Godhead as a human being is misleading. His pastimes appear to be exactly like a human being's, but actually they are transcendental and without any tinge of material contamination. He is undoubtedly known as partial to his pure devotees, but in fact he is never partial. As much as the sun is never partial to anyone, by utilizing the sun rays, sometimes even the stones become valuable, whereas a blind man cannot see the sun, although there are enough sun rays before him. Darkness and light are two opposite conceptions, but this does not mean that the sun is partial in distributing its rays. The sun rays are open to everyone, but the capacities of the receptacles differ. Foolish people think that devotional service is flattering the Lord to get special mercy. Factually, the pure devotees who are engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord are not a mercantile community. A mercantile house renders service to someone in exchange for values. The pure devotee does not render service unto the Lord for such exchange, and therefore the full mercy of the Lord is open for him. Suffering men, needy men, inquisitive persons, or philosophers make temporary connections with the Lord to serve a particular purpose. When the purpose is served, there is no more relation with the Lord. A suffering man, if he is pious at heart, if he is pious at all, prays to the Lord for his recovery. But as soon as the recovery is over, in most cases the suffering man no longer cares to keep any connection with the Lord. The mercy of the Lord is open for him, but he is reluctant to receive it. That is the difference between a pure devotee and mixed devotee. Those who are completely against the service of the Lord are considered to be in abject darkness. Those who ask for the Lord's favor only at the time of necessity are partial recipients of the mercy of the Lord. And those who are 100% engaged in the service of the Lord are full recipients of the mercy of the Lord. Such partiality in receiving the Lord's mercy is relative to the recipient, and it is not due to the partiality of all merciful Lord. When the Lord descends to this material world by his all-merciful energy, he plays like a human being, and therefore it appears that the Lord is partial to his devotees only, but that is not a fact. Despite such apparent manifestation of partiality, his mercy is equally distributed. In the battlefield of Kurukshetra, all persons who died in the fight before the presence of the Lord got salvation without the necessary qualifications, because death before the presence of the Lord purifies the passing soul from the effects of all sins. And therefore the dying man gets a place somewhere in the transcendental abode. Somehow or other, if someone puts himself open in the sun rays, he is sure to get the requisite benefit both by heat and by ultraviolet rays. Therefore the conclusion is that the Lord is never partial. It is wrong for the people in general to think of him as partial. Thus ends the wonderful transcendental Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminati Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, we are again very fortunate that we are getting a chance to hear these wonderful, beautiful prayers of Queen Kunti. Actually, this is called Queen Kunti's Stuti, Kunti's Stuti. And Stuti is something which is more than the prayers. In the next chapter also it is called Bhisma Stuti. But for lack of better words in English, it is translated loosely as Kunti's prayers. But Stuti is not just simple, ordinary words of glorification of the Lord, but it also contains lot of philosophical insights, very powerful insights. And in so simple language, in such a nice way, Kunti Maharani is explaining each one of them. It's just wonderful. So, before we proceed, I was just thinking of this verse few days back. This verse is from Bhajagovindam, where Sankaracharya is praying. He's saying that Bhagavat Gita Kinchita Dhita. Bhagavat Gita Kinchita Dhita Ganga Jalalava Kanika Pita Sakrad Api Yena Murari Samarcha Kriyate Tasya Yamena Na Charcha. Very powerful verse. Bhagavat Gita Kinchita Dhita. The wonderful instruction of the Lord is available to us in the form of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita Kinchita Dhita. If we use our intelligence to understand a little bit even Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita Kinchita Dhita. Ganga Jalalava Kanika Pita. A little drop of Ganga water. Bhagavad Gita Kinchita Dhita Ganga Jalalava Kanika Pita. Sakrid api yena murari samarcha. Sakrid is just once. If we get once even a chance to discuss about Murari, Sakrid api yena murari samarcha. Kriyate tasya yamena na charcha. Then we are creating an opportunity where there will be no discussion about us in front of Yamaraj. Our files will not go to Yamaraj. Bhagavad Gita Kinchita Dhita Ganga Jalalava Kanika Pita Sakradapi Yena Murari Samarcha. So what glorious opportunities we have in front of us. Just little bit of intelligence which is being utilized in so many other ways. If we try to understand the instructions of Krishna, if we drink a little bit of Ganga Jal and Sakradapi, even once we hear or discuss about Murari, Kriyate tasya yamena na charcha. And we were so fortunate that in the past few verses, we hear it from His Grace Rajiv Lochan Prabhu. Wonderful insights and realizations Prabhu shared. Everything is from this purports of Srila Prabhupada. So beautifully he brought out. So when we see these verses, actually there are various ways to look at these verses. Like now we are in a section where Kunti Maharani is trying to glorify the Nama Rupa Guna Lila of Krishna. And I was telling how she started with Krishnaya Vasudevaya, Devaki Nandanaya cha, Nanda Gopa Kumaraya, Govindaya Namo Namo. All the names of Krishna, she is meditating on that. Then she spoke about the Rupa, Namo Pankaja Nabhaya, Namo Pankaja Netraya, Namo Pankaja Maline, Namo Pankaja Netraya, Namaste Pankajangre. She is talking about the beauty of Krishna. Then Namarupa Guna, the qualities of Krishna, which is so wonderful. How some of the people are bereft of getting Krishna. Janma Ishwarya Shruta Sribhir, Edamana Madapuman, Daivahartiya Vidhatum, Vaitvam Makinchana Gocharam. And then the last two verses we were seeing how Prabhu was mentioning about the last two verses was Namo Kinchana Vittaya, the Vritta Guna Vrittaya, Atma Ramaya Santaya, Kaivalya Pataya Namaya. These are beautiful names of Krishna. Beautiful description of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Namo Akinchana Vittaya. Akinchana Vittaya is a beautiful usage of Sanskrit language. Not just usage of Sanskrit language, but even philosophically, it's a very powerful concept. It's actually an oxymoron. If you don't have any possession, how can you have a wealth? But Namo Akinchana Vittaya. The name of the Lord is Akinchana Vitta. He is the possession of possessionless. He is the wealth of possessionless. And time and again Krishna shows this, Namo Akinchana Vittaya. We see it in the beautiful pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is mentioned of a devotee by name Kolavecha Sridhar. Kolavecha Sridhar used to stay in so abject poverty that his house, the roofs had many holes. So virtually in the night when he used to sleep, he can see the stars, the moon and everything. And his dhoti that he used to wear had so many holes that there were many knots. And the dhoti was hardly, because it is stone, so he used to tie knots. But he was very happy. And he always used to live, by selling some banana leaf, what do you call those, donas. And with that, whatever money he used to get, 50% of that also he used to give it to Krishna. Namo Akinchana Vittaya. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and embraced, he wanted to tell the glories of Kolavecha Sridhar to the whole world. Namo Akinchana Vittaya. Nivritta Guna Vrittaya. Actually, if our intelligence even goes once, little bit, into this beautiful descriptions of the Lord. Namo Akinchana Vittaya Nivritta Guna Vrittaya. No matter who we are, we all helplessly get attracted to the modes of material nature. Whether we are student, whether we are working, whether we are brahmachari, whether we are grahastha, whether we are sannyasi. The gunas always act and we have a natural attraction, guna vrittaya. But Nivritta Gunavritta, the Lord never gets attracted to this modes of material nature. He is beyond that. Atma Rama, he is self-satisfied. Santaya, he is completely pacified. There are two words which Vedic literature use called Sama and Dhamma. Sama is controlling our mind, Dhamma is controlling our senses. But Shantaya, who is controlled, not just mind, senses, he is completely pacified. Namo Kinchana Vittaya, Nivritta Gunavrittaya, Atma Ramaya Santaya, Kaivalya Pataya Nama. And he is also the master of Kaivalya, Kaivalyapati. The liberation that anybody wants, he is the Kaivalyapati, he is the master of that. So powerful these verses. And actually in this book called The Teachings of Queen Kunti, there are some pictorial representations given for each of the verse. And the last verse that we had, Manye Tvam Kalam Ishanam Anadi Nidhanam Vibhum Samam Charantam Sarvatra Bhutanam Yanmitah Kali. These are all very deep philosophical truths which are revealed by Kunti Maharani. Manye Tvam Kalam Ishanam. Prabhu was mentioning in the last class that, first two lines is talking about Krishna's qualities. Manye Tvam Kalam Ishanam. Kalam is time. So Krishna, Kunti Maharani is telling that I am considering you to be time. And this is, in the pictorial representation of this is, the Lord or the Supreme Absolute Truth can be perceived in three ways. Brahman, what is the second one? And the third? Badanti tat tattvavidas tat jnanam yad advayam brahmeti paramatmaiti bhagavaniti sabdyate. So the Paramatma aspect, the Lord who's all pervading, like Kala, who's there in the heart. Actually in the translation Prabhupada is writing that she knew perfectly well that Krishna is the primeval Lord who lives in everyone's heart as the super soul, Paramatma. Another name of the Paramatma feature of the Lord is Kala, or eternal time. Manye Tvam Kalam Ishanam Anadi Nidhanam. Anadi, he is from beginningless. Anadi, there is no Adi for this. Nidhanam, and there is no destruction for him. Vibhum, he is the supreme powerful, supreme controller. Samam Charantam Sarvatra. He equally distributes his mercy. Bhutanam Yanmitah Kali. But the Kali or the quarrel which is happening in this material world is because of social intercourse. Very, very powerful revelations by Kunti Maharani. And today's verse, she is talking about another very deep philosophical truths which is not understood by people or often misunderstood. Naveda kaschid bhagavam stikirshitam taveha manasya nrinam bidambanam nayasya kaschid daitosti karhechit dveshyascha yasmin vishama matir nrinam. The word used here is bidambanam. Bidambanam is it's a bewildering thing. Kunti Maharani actually uses this word bidambanam twice. One more time she will use. And the second time that she uses is for the famous Damodar pastime. That, how the fear personified who's scared of Krishna, how that same Supreme Personality of Godhead is fearful of the stick of Mother Yashoda in her hand. That is bidambanam. She will talk about that. We will see that in a minute. So, just thinking about this wonderful opportunity which we are getting to hear and to apply our intelligence in understanding the spiritual truth is so glorious. In one place in Bhagavatam it is mentioned, this is Parikshit's saying, after the killing of Putana by Krishna, and when this pastime was narrated by Sukadev Goswami, immediately something bursts out from his heart, from Parikshit Maharaj's heart. So he is telling, Shri Rajo Vacha, Yena avatarena Bhagavan Harireshwaraha Karoti Karna Ramyani Mano Jnani Chanah Prabho. Yena avatarena Bhagavan Harireshwaraha. When the Lord comes down, when he takes any incarnation, Yena avatarena Bhagavan Harireshwaraha. When Hari, the Lord who's known for removing all the inauspiciousness from our life, all the unwanted things, that's why he's called Hari. And he also Harati, our mana, he takes our mind, attracts us. Bhagavan Harireshwara Karoti Karna Ramyani Mano Jnani Chana Prabhu. When we hear these pastimes of the Lord, when we try to engage our intelligence, use our intelligence to understand these philosophical truths. Karoti karna ramyani mano jnani chanah prabho. Karna and mana. So our ears and our mana, mind, both get satisfaction. Karna mano ramyani jnani chanah prabho. And we also get transcendental knowledge. Very interesting. My Lord Sukadeva Goswami, all the various activities exhibited by the incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are certainly pleasing to the ear and to the mind. Simply by one's hearing of these activities, the dirty things in one's mind immediately vanish. Like that other day, Rajendra Seku, he mentioned, it is like a car wash, like, there's so much of dirty things which are there in the mind, immediately gets vanished. Karoti karnaramyani manogyani chana prabho. So let us understand this verse, beautiful spiritual insights in this verse which are hidden and beautifully revealed by Prabhupada in the purport. So the verse goes, Naveda kaschid bhagavam chikirshitam tabeha manasya nrinam vidambanam nayasya kaschid daitosti karhichit dveshyascha yasmin vishama matirnana. Na Veda kaschit bhagavam chikirshitam. Chikirshitam is the pastimes of the Lord. Na Veda kaschit bhagavam chikirshitam. The pastimes of the Lord are not known to people. It's difficult to understand. Wow, what is this? Sometimes when people have no idea of who Krishna or Rama is, they see some movies, they watch some serials, they do something and they come, Krishna was also like us, two-handed form, he came like a human being. What is the big deal? Naveda kaschid bhagavam chikirshitam. It's very difficult to fathom this pastimes. Why is he doing? What is he doing, this wonderful pastimes? Naveda kaschid bhagavam chikirshitam tabeha manasya nrinam vidambanam. This is the greatest bewildering thing, because the Lord comes as human beings. Tabeha iha manasya. He performs human-like pastimes. Tabeha manasya nrinam vidambanam. So ordinary foolish people like us, we can't fathom why the Lord is appearing, why he is taking the form of a human being and doing this kind of pastimes. Very difficult to fathom with our with our mind and intelligence. Nayasya kaschid daito sti karhichit dveshyascha yasmin vishama matirnana. Nayasya kaschid daito. There is nobody who is favorable to the Lord. It's not like the Lord is coming. First of all, his pastimes are very difficult to fathom. And when he descends, it's not like he has got some section of people whom he loves or who are partial to him. Nayasya kaschid daitosti karhichit dveshyascha yasmin. And there is nobody who is, object of his envy. So he doesn't have any favorable person, he doesn't have any person whom he envies. Yasmin vishama matirnanam. But the people in general think that the Lord is partial. Vishama. Vishama is translated by Prabhupada as partiality. It appears to our mundane intelligence, no, he was always there with the Pandavas. He was taking care of the Banaras. He was taking care of Sugriva, of Hanuman. He was trying to kill these demons. So he is definitely partial to his devotees. So this is the verse that we have. O Lord, no one can understand your transcendental pastimes, which appear to be human and so are misleading. You have no specific object of favor, nor do you have any object of envy. People only imagine that you are partial. Vishama matir nrinam. Matir is, they have a conception that you are partial. And how Prabhupada so beautifully has brought this in his purport. Actually, I mean, if, lifetime, we just think and understand how this such pure and uncontaminated, free from all material conceptions, this truth is so nicely given by Prabhupada. We can never get disturbed in our devotional life, because it is so beautifully given in this purports. If I go to the purport, the last sentence, the last two lines, Prabhupada is writing, therefore the conclusion is that the Lord is never partial. It is wrong for the people in general to think of him as partial. So when do we use the word therefore? We use the word therefore when something has been proved, something has been stated. So Prabhupada is saying therefore, hence, the conclusion, that means this is the final thing, is that the Lord is never partial. It is wrong for the people in general to think of him as partial. That means if you go through the purport very clearly, very scrutinizingly, if you just pay attention to that, you will come to this understanding, conclusion, that therefore the Lord is impartial. Actually, forget about the Lord being partial, impartial. If somebody even comes to this understanding that there is Lord who exists, it's a big thing. Forget about even some people may say that the Lord is, most of the people in this world are not even aware that there is Lord who is existing. The existence of the Lord is a question mark for them. I want to take you to something which always has fascinated me, and that sentence has so much to unpack that doesn't matter which verse of Bhagavatam we are talking about, it will make sense. And that is the first sentence of Srimad Bhagavatam. Does anybody know what is the first sentence of Srimad Bhagavatam? The magnum opus. Not the first sentence. Before the verse begins, there is preface and there is introduction. So in the preface of Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada writes the first line, the worldwide Hare Krishna movement's founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada's first sentence: we must know the present need of human society. This is the first sentence he writes. Does anybody know what is the need of the society that Prabhupada... How many of you have read preface? You've read, okay. What does he talk about in the preface? First few lines, which he always puts it. Which one? Oblivion. Okay. He talks about spiritual communism. No, there is one thing that you keep using. Pinprick. Pinprick. So basically, Prabhupada is talking about in the purport, in the first paragraph, we must know the present need of human society. So mind you, this Bhagavatam is written by Prabhupada when he was in India. And that time, the Second World War has just finished. So he talks about, though the society has made tremendous progress, communication is so easy, people are able to talk to each other, and the world has kind of shrunk. But he talks about spiritual communism, and he also talks about a large-scale quarrel, which probably we would have not experienced. We are just hearing something in, Russia is bombing Ukraine, Ukraine-Russia war is going on, or the Middle East, Gaza, whatever the problem between Israel and Palestine is going on. They are in small pockets, but imagine a situation where the whole world is engaged in fighting, every single country. What kind of a situation will be? So there is a large amount of quarrel. That is the need. This was the reality. And they want a spiritual communism where everybody should be equally treated. But somehow Prabhupada says that there is a pinprick. We want to be comfortable. We have made our life so much nice, so much scientific progress, technological advancement we have made, but there is something pinprick. Imagine, you are sitting there, and if you are not careful, while you sat down over there is some kind of little pin or something is there, and you sat down on that. Oh my God, so painful it is. You would have had nice breakfast, you have taken bath, you have come with the mindset to read, to understand or to hear. You're sitting in a nice chair or something. All of a sudden somebody picks. So that there is a need in the society, though the society wants to make progress and they want to make so much of this thing, make life comfortable, but there is a pinprick. And we must know the present need of human society. Prabhupada is right. This is the first sentence. This was something which our acharyas like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he said, Prabhupada, that you go and preach in the Western country. Prabhupada also is writing, we must need the need of the present human society. What is the need? The need is people are completely in oblivion. They are completely misled. They are in abject darkness. They have no understanding who the Supreme Lord is. And we must communicate. We must know the present need of human society. Truths like this, I mean, when I'm saying we must communicate, we are also part of that same society. It's not like we are free and we have become enlightened. We don't know. We are in deep darkness. This planet Earth, if we compare the position of planet Earth to the huge creation, so big, gigantic creation, some galaxies, that galaxy is part of the universe, so many galaxies are there. One tiny planet Earth, like planet Earth, there are so many other planets, there is one sun, and like that there are one galaxy, Milky Way, like there are so many galaxies, and so big universe, and this universe is like a mustard seed. So many universes are there. So basically, this planet Earth is like a small well, and the huge universe is like an ocean. And we are like that frog in that well, trying to understand what this creation is all about. And with all that pride we know everything. Ooh, what are you saying? I know. We must know the present need of human society. Unfortunately, we are in so much of darkness and so much of ignorance. And knowledge like this, when it is revealed, it doesn't even strike us. For it to strike also, we should be ready. We should be in a position to accept it. But we are not. And we are disturbed. We are always disturbed. And something is going on always in our mind. Rebellious, some pride, something just doesn't allow us to understand this knowledge. Even the scientific community, if they have to understand, they have to come to the position of humility. Without humility, this spiritual truth will never touch. It will not penetrate. That humility will make all the difference. Paritranaya, what is that, 4.34? Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshina. Tadvidhi pranipatena. First one has to be submissive, bow down before the spiritual master. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya, and inquire very submissively, render service. Then this truth will be revealed to us. So this sentence always has fascinated me. We must know the present need of human society, which includes all of us. We need to know what is the need. And verses like this address the need very, very well. Prabhupada very emphatically says it can bring a cultural spiritualization. This Bhagavatam can feel that need, whatever that pinprick that one is experiencing. Things might have changed, the context might have changed in the present situation, but still that pinprick is there. And that discomfort, that pinprick, can be addressed by the knowledge of Bhagavatam. That is what exactly Kunti Maharani's prayers are revealing. First thing that, in the purport Prabhupada is mentioning is, Lord's mercy upon the fallen souls is equally distributed. And he has nobody as the object of specific favor, neither he has anybody as the specific object of hostility. He is undoubtedly known as partial to his pure devotees, but in fact he is never partial, as much as the sun is never partial to anybody. कमलोचन, सूर्यदेव कब उगते हैं वहाँ पे जयपुर में? कितना? 7 बजे? अभी 6:30. तो जब सन राइज होता है, ऐसा कोई जगह होता है क्या जहाँ पे सन रेज पड़ता नहीं हो? Cannot be. Sun, when it shines, even though it is now cloudy or it is snowing and it's all, you can't see the presence of the sun, it's only the fact that our vision is blocked. Whatever is those cloud or the snow, it is blocking the vision of ours presently. But the sun is always present in all full glory in the sky, always. And the sun rays falls everywhere. There is no place which is bereft where the sun rays is not falling. He is never partial, as much as the sun is never partial to anybody. By utilizing the sun rays, sometimes even the stones become valuable. Even the stones, sometimes they capture the sun rays and they become valuable. While a blind man cannot see the sun, although there are enough sun rays before him. Very powerful. What powerful example is this? A person who is blind, he may not know that there is a sun in the sky somewhere. He can feel the warmth, he can feel the heat, but he has never seen the sun. So he doesn't know what it is. Darkness and light are two opposite conceptions in relation to the sun rays. But it does not mean that the sun is partial in the matter of distributing its rays. It's very Darkness and light, they are two different, two opposite concepts. It doesn't mean that sun is partial just because the person is blind. No, he has no idea. Sun rays are open to everyone, but it depends on the capacity of the receptacle. If I am not able to receive it, Prabhupada is giving the example, even the stones become valuable by receiving the sun rays. If my receiving capacity is small, I am not able to receive. Does it mean that the sun is partial? No, that is what Prabhupada is mentioning, emphasizing in the purport. It is not that the Lord is partial in distributing His mercy. It depends on the receiving capacity of the person. If the person is not able to receive, it appears that somebody is getting the mercy more compared to the other ones. There's a very nice story which comes in connection with the distribution of mercy in relation to Srila Sripad Ramanujacharya. Ramanujacharya, once he was traveling with 4 or 5 sannyasis of his disciples, and he was going. So they stopped in one place, they had prasadam, and after the prasadam was over, he washed his plate in one of the rivers nearby. So while he washed the plate, there were some remnants of that prasadam which was there in the plate. So when he washed, there were some fishes, 4 or 5 fishes which were there in that river. They took that remnant, immediately, very next moment, they transformed into 4-handed Vishnu form, and they just flew out of the river. So the sannyasis, they were seeing and they say, what is this? How is it that such magical thing can happen? So they asked Ramanujacharya, what is it? We have been staying with you, we are trying to follow your instructions, we are also taking your remnants. Why this is not happening? So Ramanujacharya said, because the fish doesn't have a free will like you, and the fishes are not committing any offenses, and they have no doubt. There is no question of doubt, so there is no offense. But since we have doubts, we don't have faith, strong faith in this, so that's why those things are not working. So the mercy of the Lord is available, and we are so fortunate. So many things have changed in our life. We are so fortunate that we are able to chant Hare Krishna mantra 16 rounds daily. At least we are trying. Maybe the quality is not there, it will come sometimes. We are so fortunate that we have been given a chance to serve Shri Shri Radha Damodar. We are so fortunate that Prabhupada has accepted as his disciples. So fortunate. But we don't realize this. And we sometimes get so puffed up. Because of me, this is happening. मैं ही तो कर रहा हूँ इधर के टेम्पल में मैं नहीं रहूँगा तो क्या होगा? Like that kind of a feeling comes. I am the main person. मैं DT सर्विस करता हूँ, मैं ही कुकिंग करता हूँ, मैं ही सारा क्लास लेता हूँ, सबको ये करता हूँ, फंड रेजिंग करता हूँ. So many things, as if I am doing a favor on Lord. No. The Lord doesn't need any of our service. He is Atmaram. He is completely self-satisfied. He has no need. It's not like Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Braja. When the Lord is saying, He is looking for more servants who can serve Him. And He is, as if He doesn't have any people, so what should He do? So He's telling you, give up and just surrender unto me. He does not need. When we surrender, Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshayisyami Mahasucha. All our sinful activities will be gone. We need to be engaged in devotional service. See, sneezing over egg. We have to. There is no choice for us. Very interestingly, Prabhupada in the purport talks about 3 kinds of people. First, those who are completely against the service of the Lord. They have no understanding. Who, Lord, what? And that is the need where we have to address these people. Those who are completely against the service of the Lord. Those who ask for the Lord's favor only at the time of necessity. Those 4 things that we know. Artho, Artharthi, Jnani and Jigyasu. They come only at the time of necessity. And then the third, those who are 100% engaged in the service of the Lord. Actually, Prabhupada in the purport writes one very beautiful sentence that foolish people think that devotional service is flattering the Lord to get special mercy. Only foolish people think that, okay, if I go and do flattering, they're thinking these people are going regularly to the temple, they're flattering somehow so that they can get some mercy. It's so factually, the pure devotees who are engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord are not a mercantile community. It's not some business that is happening. Okay, I'll do this much, so Lord, you give me mercy. We can't demand mercy like that. And it is foolish for people to think like that. Crudely, a very crude example. A few days back, I think when I wanted to use the washroom was locked, right? Somebody was using it. And I was trying to knock, saying that, "Bhai, nikalo, jana hai Mangala Aarti ke liye." But if that person inside is determined that he would not open, jo karna hai kar, main nahi khulne wala, what can you do? So like that, mercy of the Lord, we can't demand. Main 16 mala, I have done 16 rounds for 10 years, I have done this thing, mercy milna. No, we can't demand. And it is not a business which we are doing. It's not a mercantile. Actually, Prabhupada puts it so beautifully when he classifies this. So what is the difference? Those who are completely against the service of the Lord, they are considered to be in abject darkness. Those who ask for the Lord's favor only at the time of necessity, partial recipients of the mercy of the Lord. And those who are 100% engaged in the service of the Lord, full recipients of the mercy of the Lord. The Lord is never distinguishing, He's not selecting. It is only who's not wanting, who's never done any devotional service. It's complete abject darkness. Somebody, like a Artho who has got some problem, he comes and his problem gets cured or solved, his disease gets cured, he goes back. Most of the times they forget about the Lord. Partial recipients of the mercy of the Lord. Those who are 100% engaged in the service of the Lord. Full recipients of the mercy of the Lord. If you would have heard the lecture Friday, Chanchalpati Prabhu's lecture, he was telling how fortunate we are that we are staying in the ashram. Everything that we are doing is related to Krishna. Everything. Unless somebody is thinking something in his mind and doing some concoction. What an opportunity. What a great privilege that has been given to us for those of us who are full-time in the missionaries in the temple. Great blessing of the Lord. Everything is meant to be used in Krishna's service. Those who are 100% engaged in the service of the Lord, full recipients of the mercy of the Lord. So I thought, anyway, the time always runs away, and there's so many beautiful points. But I thought from all the Prabhupada's purports, and especially in this purport and in various other places which Prabhupada mentions, what are the difference between Jiva and Supreme Lord? Because it is so misleading, bidambanam, that people think, okay, the Lord is also like me, two-handed forms, he took birth, he also did some kind of activities, I am also doing. Am I the same as Lord? Very, very clear. It is very important to have this clear distinction between Jiva and the Lord. And unless that is there, deep within, very strong, the ability to engage in devotional service also will not come. When we understand that we are infinite small, the Lord is infinite. I have no existence save and except in engaging in devotional service. Then that conviction will become very strong. First thing is, Jiva is called Anu and Krishna is called Vibhu. Anu means tiny, atom. Jiva is called Anu. What is the size of the soul? It is mentioned in the Upanishads. If you take the tip of the hair and you divide it 100 times, then you take one of those tips and divide it further 100 times. That is the size of the soul. Jiva is called Anu and Krishna is Vibhu. When Mahavishnu lies down in the Karana Jala, in the ocean of Karana the Kashai ocean, from his pores, millions of universes are coming out. What is our position and what is the position of the Lord? But sometimes people become so envious, because of the curtain of Maya, which we will talk about a little bit, how it covers and how we can come out of it, and how this purports, these verses are meant to ignite that spark within. We have that potential to come out of the coverings of Maya, but we don't want to, because Maya's energy, Maya is a very faithful servant of Krishna, doesn't want to send anyone who is not yet pure to Vaikuntha Loka. So we are always under subjugation. We will see that Jiva is called Anu, Krishna is called Vibhu. Jiva is conscious of one's own body, whereas Vishnu is conscious of the entire cosmic body and beyond. Sometimes Jiva is not even conscious of his own body. Sometimes if a person has got paralysis or some problem in some part of the body, what's going on there, who knows? He's not even conscious of his body completely. Whereas the Lord is conscious of the entire cosmic body and beyond. Without his sanction, not even a blade of grass moves. Jiva doesn't remember what happened yesterday. What did you eat yesterday, day before yesterday in lunch? It was a tough. Rice dal maybe you can say, but otherwise, I struggle with him. Oh, what did you make yesterday with the Rajbhog? We don't. Jiva doesn't remember what happened yesterday, but Krishna knows past, present and future. He tells in the 4th chapter, Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, Bahuni me betitani janmani tavacha Arjuna. Many, many lives have gone, but I remember everything. Though you were present in some form or other, you don't remember those. Jiva is susceptible to be influenced by 3 modes, while Lord is beyond 3 modes. I was talking about this nivritta gunavrittaye. Nivritta gunavrittaye. Lord, in Bhagavad Gita also, he says in the Chaturshloki, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante maam buddha bhava samanvita. From me, both material world and spiritual world emanates. So Jiva is susceptible to be influenced by 3 modes, while Lord is beyond these 3 modes. He is the creator of these 3 modes. He cannot be influenced by that. Jiva can never become God, while God is always God, but we can become godly. Sometimes some of these people who have no understanding of Krishna they say that probably Krishna, like in his youth, went to some gym or did some this thing and then acquired some energy and power and then he killed all the demons. No, sir. Krishna killed Putana when he was a small child. He was God from the beginning. We can never become God. There is one conversation of Prabhupada, it's there in Vedaves, if you see. When Prabhupada was touring all over the world 14 times, my God. How painstakingly, and he was going and having the same morning schedule everywhere, irrespective of the time zone, irrespective of which place, cold, hot, doesn't matter, it used to be the same, consistent. There was one person who walked into Los Angeles temple and he said, I'm liking the fact that you are decorating me very nicely. So the devotees were stunned. I mean, what is he saying? I'm liking the fact that you are decorating me very nicely. So he was a follower of Mayavada and basically he was saying the same Narayana which you are decorating, I'm also the same person. Of course, the devotees just laughed at him. So Jiva can never become God, while God is always God. And Prabhupada had some conversation with him and then how he kind of transformed that man. But we can become godly. Lord is absolute in nature. His name, form, pastimes are non-different from him, which is not the case for us. So it's a fact. Now we are hearing about his pastimes. We take his names. These are all non-different. They're absolute. And this is not the case for us. Lord alone can give liberation, while Jiva cannot. This is mentioned in one of the, I think it is in Padma Purana, where Shiva is talking to Parvati, which is quoted by Prabhupada in the Chaturshloki of Srimad Bhagavatam, how the demigods, doesn't matter how powerful they are, they can give so many material benedictions, but they can't give liberation. It can only be given by the Lord. That is why his name is Mukti Dadati iti Mukunda. Both Jiva and Krishna are unborn, Aja, but Jiva is forced to take birth in this world because of previous karma. And the Lord descends out of his own sweet will. Our actions are called karma, akarma or vikarma, while Lord's actions are called chikirshitam. Badri, chikirshitam kya hota hai? Pastimes. We are forced to work in this world because of the 3 modes, but Krishna, there is no need to work. Work binds us in this world, but no work can bind Krishna. And eternal position of Krishna is master, whereas the eternal position of Jiva is servant. But the distinction we don't remember, we don't realize because of this overpowering potency of Maya. I'll take this one small thing and with that we will close. Maya has got 3 parts. One is called Pradhana, one is called Avidya, and third one is called Vidya. Pradhana is the facilities by which we get this material body and the material world. This is created so that it can facilitate our vasanas, our desires. We want to become independent enjoyer, we want to be independent controller. Okay, all right. Even if you are a tiny little spirit soul, a spark of the Supreme Lord, Here is a material body, which is a facility which is given to you, and here is a domain called material world where you can do what you want. So the living entity, the jiva, he falls down, he comes to this material world where he accepts himself as the body. That is called avidya. Creates identification with the material body and material world, and thinks that this material world is permanent. This is where I am supposed to live. This is where I am supposed to do all my activities. I have to work hard so that I can live here happily forever. That's avidya. But vidya helps in giving up material identification and helps attain self-realization. It's so important. This transcendental knowledge is meant for us to understand, to give up this material identification, understand our true position and attain self-realization. And avidya potency has two roles. What are the two roles of avidya? It's called artham na pratiyeta and anartham pratiyeta. Inability to see the truth. This is all from the Chaturshloki, the first verse of that. Artham na pratiyeta. Inability to see the truth. That is why the potency of Maya, which covers the transcendental knowledge, is called avaranatmika sakti. It doesn't allow us to see the truth. Inability to see the truth. Anartham pratiyeta. Perceiving things which are non-existent. All these relationships, aham mameti, this is mine, this thing belongs to me, the possessiveness, and how the Lord is the property of, what is that? Nama kinchana vittaya. So not the person who is poor or who's living in abject poverty. No, the person who's free from this mentality of possessiveness. Anartham pratiyeta, perceiving things which are non-existent. Then when a person is ready for liberation, vidya potency performs its two roles. Artham pratiyeta and anartham na pratiyeta. Ability to see the truth and anartham na pratiyeta. Not perceiving things which are non-existent. For ordinary materialists, life situations are orchestrated by Mahamaya as per their karma, without any intervention of Krishna, and they respond to the situations as per their vasanas. These are all very powerful truths. For ordinary materialists who do not have any conception of the Lord, who have never understood about surrendering, who live their life in their own way, they don't think that there is any need for spirituality, there is any need to surrender, they have no conception of that. So for them, the entire material world is orchestrated by Mahamaya as per their karma. Whatever the karma they are doing, good, bad, sometimes they are getting happiness, sometimes they are getting distress, without any intervention of Krishna. This is the arrangement of the Lord. The other day Prabhu was mentioning that question that he asked. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam stataiva bhajamyaham. So the Lord has created this system called law of karma, based on which whatever people are doing, they will get as per that. And they respond to the situations. How do they respond to the situations? When the reactions come, as per their vasanas, as per their desires. Now for perfected devotees, who are pure devotees, life situations are orchestrated by Yogamaya, as per direction of Krishna. And they respond to the situations as per their prema, as per the love of Godhead. This is Yogamaya's, the Yogamaya, the spiritual potency of the Lord, orchestrate the activities for a pure devotee. They are beyond this material modes of nature. That is why if you read the lecture of on this verse by Prabhupada starts with this question: Paritranaya sadhunam vinasaya cha duskritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. The reason why the Lord descends is he has to protect the devotees. Paritranaya sadhunam. But he says the sadhus, anyway they are free from the modes of material nature. They are already free from this attachment and entangle of material world. So why the Lord is coming? Paritranaya sadhuna. What is it that he is trying to protect him? Because the pure devotees of the Lord, or the devotees of the Lord, as we know in the 14th chapter, where it is mentioned, Sagunan samati teitan, they are beyond this modes of material nature. So why it is that the Lord is saying paritranaya sadhuna? And Prabhupada writes, this is also bidambana. But he goes on to say, it is not that the Lord is coming down to protect the devotees, or to protect the devotees from the association of matter, but rather the Lord is coming down to meet the devotees. That, because the devotee is so eager to reciprocate with that, the Lord comes. But for the Lord to come to protect the devotees is not necessary. For perfected devotees, life situations are orchestrated by Yogamaya as per direction of Krishna, and they respond to the situations as per their prema. And for sadhakas like us, life situations are orchestrated by Mahamaya only, but as per direction of Krishna. And we have the choice to respond as per our vasanas or injunctions of shastras. The more we respond as per the vasanas, the more we get implicated as per our karma. But the more we respond as per the injunction of shastras, the more we free ourselves from this binding. So these are some of the points from this verse. These are so wonderful, so beautifully these truths are revealed. One cannot feed one. It is difficult to spoon feed somebody. You cannot put a spoon in somebody's mouth and feed him. Take this, and it'll cure or it'll purify you. One has to do the endeavor to spend some time to go through these truths, to realize this. Yes, actually the Lord is impartial. So beautiful argument which Prabhupada has given. Even those people who died in the battlefield of Kurukshetra in front of Krishna, they all got some place in the spiritual abode. How can you say he's partial? Putana, who came smearing her breast with poison to kill Krishna, Krishna didn't see all of those. Krishna thought, okay, at least she's like a mother, she's coming to feed me. He gave her a position of his own mother in spiritual abode. How can Krishna be partial? Actually, with Krishna has got nothing to do with this. It is only in our, the ignorance that is there in our mind makes us perceive things the way that we want to. And when those things become clear and we understand that the Lord is so impartial and how merciful He is and how we can receive the mercy through His pure devotee, life will be a success. 2 points to close. If you have to buy a watch, let's say you want to, which watch you are wearing? Fitbit watch. If you want to buy, can you go to the manufacturer of Fitbit in their workshop or in their factory and say that I want to buy this Fitbit watch? You can't do it. No, but you are manufacturing. No, you can give it to me. No, you have to go to the retailer, wherever the Fitbit outlets are there, from there you can get it. Something similar to that. Though the Lord is the ocean of mercy, if we want to receive the mercy from the Lord, we have to necessarily go through His pure devotees. The distribution of the mercy happens through the pure devotees. You can't go and directly ask the Lord. So when we follow the instructions of the spiritual master, the pure devotees, we become the recipient of the mercy. Maybe the second point I would just stop. I'll skip for now. Any questions? Any comments?
Non-envious. But living entities, jivas, we all have partiality, enviousness. Where does it come from? Is it combination of the three modes of material nature that acts on us, and that's how partiality and enviousness is there in most of us?
Yeah, that's the whole reason why we are here in this material world. First of all, the Ichcha Dvesha Samuthena. Enviousness came in this material world because the root cause is we are envious of Krishna. That is how the envy towards the living entities manifest deeply. Some people have got very high degree of enviousness, and that enviousness doesn't allow the person to become spiritual. To understand the spiritual truth, one has to become little steady, stable. And the steadiness doesn't come if you have got too many vasanas, too many desires, or too much of enviousness. Like the verse which says, Bhogaishwarya prasaktanam taya parata chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhi samadho na vidhiyate. Bhoga and Aishwarya is many branched. Mind is running here, there. Prasaktanam, asakta, sakta is to get attached. Prabhu that day was explained. Prasakta, prakrishta rupena asakta. Somebody is too attached to those things, then the intelligence is stolen. Taya apahrita, it is kidnapped. Vyavasayat, one pointed attention will not come. Similarly, envy. When there is too much of envy, people are just very restless within and very can't accept anything. Everything they see as fault or something, and why this person is having, why that person. The spiritual truth cannot accept, cannot penetrate. So what is the solution? How do we come out of it? So when we interact with materialistic people, we get a stench, a stinking material consciousness in their words. They talk about how to enjoy, how to do these things, and how we can do these things nicely. But when we hear the words of a pure devotee, it gives us the glimpse of spiritual world. It has got that strength which act like a slap, and it awakens us from the slumber of the spiritual this thing. So there is no, the whole root cause is ichha and dvesha. And the dvesha, the initial root cause of dvesha is dvesha of the Lord. So that manifests in the dvesha for other living entities here in this material world. And the more we hear, the more we try to become sincere in our service and approach to a pure devotee's instructions, the more we become free. Is that?
Yes, it does. I understand, but I'm just trying to.
Where did it come from?
We say someone's very intelligent, someone's very beautiful, someone's very wealthy. It's all, we are small specks of the Lord. So the Lord has everything, so we get small. I mean, that's how my understanding is like that. So when the Lord doesn't have any partiality, when the Lord doesn't have any enviousness, how is it that I have partiality, I have enviousness? Even like in small dose.
Yeah, that's how we have fallen down. Otherwise, we would have been in spiritual world. And why did we develop that? Prabhupada says that that answer which Prabhupada gives is very philosophically profound. Once you go back, you will find out. It's not so important to acknowledge that we have all these problems. Important to know that I am fallen, I am stuck in this material world. First now you are having a disease. Why did I have this disease is not so important. Better to get cured and come back to your normal sanity. Then you figure out what happened later. Bhakt. Yeah, the third chapter, I think 27th verse. Prakriti kriyamanani gune karmani sarvasa ahankara vimudhatma kartahamiti manyate. We are not completely free from our past reactions of our actions. Prakriti kriyaman. So the Lord is still facilitating our desires, and Lord is still facilitating the reactions of our actions. He is doing that. And it is all happening by Prakriti Kriyamanani. But we always have a choice. Now, because we have become a sadhaka, we have taken to this path of devotion, Krishna is in control, but the free will is still with us. I can choose to follow my desires, or I can choose to follow the injunctions of the scriptures. The more I do that, the more I become perfected. I come to the stage where everything is orchestrated by Yogamaya. So that is an intermediate stage where you are understanding that you are in this material world, but you are not completely free from the grips of it. Still Mahamaya is acting, but Krishna is also under control. And the more you make right choices, the more you become purified and the more you become free from the influence of modes of material nature. That is why that verse of 14th chapter, Sagunan Samatitaitan, Mam yo abhya vicharena bhakti yogena sevate, Sagunan Samatitaitan, Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Abhya vicharena bhakti, that bhakti that we are engaging should be uninterrupted. Continuously we have to abhya vicharena, and it should be chaste. There should not be any desire, or there shouldn't be any motive behind engaging in devotional service. Like this verse is saying that some people think it is flattering the Lord so that I can get mercy. Mercy will come by that. Not with any of those things. When we engage in that, Sagunan Samatitaitan, Atityaitan, we'll transcend the modes of material nature. Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate, we will be fixed in the platform of Brahman. Good question. Yeah, the word sadhu, I'll read that, very interesting. The word sadhu means someone who's already free from all this attachment to the material world. And so Prabhupada is saying, when God incarnates, he has two missions: to vanquish the demons and deliver the sadhus, the faithful devotees. The word sadhuna, which means saintly persons, refers to the devotees. It has nothing to do with the worldly honesty or dishonesty, morality or immorality. It has nothing to do with material activities. Sometimes we may think that the word sadhu refers to a person who is materially good or moral. But actually the word sadhu refers to one who is on the transcendental platform. Who is on the transcendental platform? A sadhu therefore is a devotee, because one who engages in devotional service is transcendental to material qualities. Sagunan Samatitaitan. So he is already in the transcendental qualities, in the transcendental platform. Then why he needs to be delivered? That is the Vidambana. Now the Lord comes to deliver the devotees, Paritranaya Sadhuna. But it is clearly stated in Bhagavad Gita 14.26 that a devotee transcends the material qualities. A devotee in transcendental position, because he is no longer under the control of the three modes of material nature, goodness, passion and ignorance. But if a sadhu is already delivered, being on the transcendental platform, where is the necessity for delivering him? That is the question Prabhupada asked. This question may arise. The Lord comes to deliver the devotee, but the devotee is already delivered. Therefore the word Vidambanam means bewildering. But the answer to this contradiction is that a sadhu, devotee, does not require deliverance, but because he is very much anxious to see the Supreme Lord face to face, Krishna comes not to deliver him from the clutches of matter, from which he has already been delivered, but to satisfy his inner desire. This is the contradiction being answered. That's what I told. Now the questions will stop here. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki